Well, I was going to do another video on just, working on guitars, but this one is just too cool. This is a Breedlove that I think this has got to be one of the nicest guitars I've ever seen in my life. The thing is beautiful. It's a 12 string and it's custom. It was a custom, came from the custom Breedlove shop. The top, I think this is spruce top. It's got a beautiful tone to it, but man, look at this wood. This is just incredible. This is, I believe it's Macassar Ebony. It's like a $4,000 guitar. It's incredible. Okay, the reason it's here is the action was kind of high. I've got the strings off it now, and I've been looking it over, but the action was pretty high. It was about 8/64 and 5/64, and they just want to see if I can get that down. And normally how you do that, and I'm looking at the neck angle on here. I checked that all out. It's perfect. It doesn't need a neck reset or anything. It's got a good angle on it. So typically what you would do is just take a little bit of material off the saddle. But while the strings are on it, I just kind of feeling the guitar, looking at it over very closely. It looked like it had a fairly good sized belly like this. The lower bout was starting to belly a bit on it, and it's really unusual for Breedlove because from the factory these things come, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yes, you can see it. There it is. That's called the JLD Bridge Doctor. And essentially what that is, I might even have one here, I'll show you, but there's a rod that goes all the way back and it hits the end block, and then it comes back forward, and it's kind of a fulcrum. You can almost see it right here. There's a little spot here that this rod goes down, goes into that block of wood, and then there's a rod that goes all the way back to the end block, and you can put a little tension on that. There's a hex screw in there. You put a little tension on that, and what that does is it forces the bridge back a little bit so that you can get belly out of the bridge. So just by chance, not by chance, I knew it was in there, but I went down just to see how much tension we had on with the Allen key here, and there's none. There is no tension on there. So then I was worried about the back rod falling off. So I took my mirror, went down in there, but everything's set up okay. It's just that there's no tension on there. And I got a feeling if I put a little tension on that, we'll actually bring the action down, because it's going to help take the belly out. And what I would do is just leave the guitar like that for a few weeks and just see if it settles down. If the action comes down, then we don't have to bother shaving any of the saddle. We'll just leave it. But if it doesn't, then I can take off some. But right now it's not right. We've got to get some tension on that JLD. Let me see if I got one here. I knew I had one. I had to do a little digging, but I found it. Here it is, JLD Guitar Research and Development. It's called the Bridge Doctor, and this is, that's kind of a schematic of what it looks like in there. Okay. Here's the end block that on the end of the guitar, and here's a rod that goes up to the block, and then the block is attached. There's like a mounting post that goes up through the bridge there, and then this is like the fulcrum here, and this is basically it. See, it's right here. So basically in the guitar, here's the rod. This kind of slides. Okay. Slides in there. Pretend this is vertical. This screw here, this goes up through the bridge, okay? And then this just kind of rests against the bottom of the top here. And this back here is going to sit on the end block, right? So as you lengthen this screw, this will start rocking like this, and it'll put more pressure in front of that bridge, so it helps to keep it from bellying. And they sell these things for guitars that have a really bad belly problem, If the customer wants, you can install one of these, and I've done this in a few guitars, and get the belly off out of the top if it's a really bad belly top, and it'll save you neck reset. They're fairly easy to install, and one of the claims they make too is that it improves the tone of the guitar. How true that is, I don't know, but that's the story of the JLD. So let's put some tension on this and see what happens. Alright, here goes. Let's see if I can get that. Probably got my big head in the way here. Okay. So we got that hex key in there. And as I say, there's absolutely no tension on here, so I'm just going to turn it and put a little tension on here. There we go. Got some good tension on there. And it's kind of hard to figure out whether or not the belling came down, but you know, it's definitely shifting that forward, so it's going to bring the this part of the guitar down. Here you go. Like most all guitars, you're going to have some radius to the top, but if they get like I say this one, just looking at it, you could see there was a pretty good bow or belly to it. Now we've tightened that JLD. And look at this. Here's a straight edge. I put some masking tape on here so I don't scratch it. I'd kill myself if I scratch this guitar. But there, that ain't bad at all. There's just a little, you know, you can see from side to side. That's not much. It's not much bellying right there. So I think that the JLD, it worked already. It's pretty instantaneous. Okay. All I'm going to do here now, the frets they're not bad, but I got these things called fret erasers. There's a little bit starting here. I'll just clean up these frets. I'm going to tape it off, clean up the frets, clean up the fretboard, and just do a general, like a detail on it. There's a little bit of corrosion on the tuners. I'll clean up the tuners, you know, for them. Alright, I got to tape up the fretboard here. Getting sick of taping fretboards, but especially on this guitar, it's so nice. I don't want a chance scratching anything. The fingerboard needs a little bit of cleaning. The fretboard here, we'll clean that later. But taping it up, everything stays a lot cleaner. I'm getting good at taping. It doesn't take me that long. Alright, this is 3M Draftsman's tape because it's got low tack and it doesn't stick to the lacquer. I get a Christmas card every year from 3M thanking me for my business. But anyway, so we got everything taped up here, and if you see, the frets aren't bad at all. Just some very light marks on them. So I'm going to use these things. They're called fret erasers. They come in all these different grits. Like here's an 800 grit. I think you start at 180. Here's 1000, 400. Here's 180, 600. So I just go progressively. Like I'll start with the 180, and we'll just get these little marks out of here. What happens as you use these things, you can see this is starting to take on like a crown to it. Actually, this was so bad, I went over to my belt sander over there, and I just cleaned them up because the grooves were getting so deep, it would have been hitting the fretboard instead of the fret. So we're just going to polish these up here real quick. This is the 180. It's the most aggressive. And it's doing a pretty good job. There's still a little bit here. I'm going to try and get all of that out of there. Okay, I did them all with the 180, and there's 400. And 600, 800, 1,000. We'll just run right up through them all. Here we go. They do a nice job. Took them right up to the 1,000 grit fret eraser. So I'll take the tape off here and get ready to polish it. Alright, going to polish this up. Being obsessive compulsive as I am, there's this little scratch down here on the headstock. I think I'll get some of that fine polishing compound. Take that out, and then there's no pick guard on here. If you catch the light just right, it's got a bunch of pick scratches in here, and I think I can get those out too with that fine compound. And I'll use I'll do the fine, and then I have a cleaner, and then there's a plastic polish, so it'll really bring the sheen up. Alright, let's see what I can do about getting these little scratches out here. See if that did it or not. That did it. All right. I'll come back and I'll do it with the plastic cleaner and then the clear plastic polish. But since I got this rag with the fine compound on here, I'm going to do down here where the pick scratches are. Should take those right out because they're even finer than the scratch that was up here on the headstock. If you get the light just right, you can see them. Alright, that fine compound, I was able to get out what scratches I saw. Like I said, there was some underneath the sound hole. There's a couple small ones on the back. Nothing too bad, but they're gone now. This thing's going to look perfect by the time I'm done with it here. So I'm going to use the fine compound I only did for the spots where the scratches were. This clear plastic cleaner, I think I'll probably just buff the whole thing down here. Put some in here. I'll do the whole guitar with this stuff. Alright, and the last step is the plastic polish. This is hard work, but it's really worth it. This thing's looking fantastic here. This guitar didn't look any better the day it left the factory. This sheen just came right up. What minor scratches there were, they're all completely gone. And the headstock, there was a pretty good scratch up on the headstock right in the middle. That's completely gone. Alright, next is the tuners. There's a little bit of corrosion on these, so I use the Never Dull polish that I got, metal polish. Just take a wad of it and just buff them out. And I try not to get this on the lacquer. I think I'll do 3 of them and then wipe these off with a rag and keep going. This stuff's great because that corrosion, it just comes right off. Okay, that's 3 down. The ones on the right I did, the left I haven't done yet. I don't know if it picks it up, but you can definitely see the difference. Alright, and finally the fretboard. I'm going to clean that with the Dunlop 65, and then we're going to condition it with some refined linseed oil. And just a few frets here at a time. Let me get a different rag. Alright, and finally just a little bit of refined linseed oil. And this just goes on and comes right off. And just do like 5 frets at a time. Alright, it's done. Well, almost done. Got to put the strings on. But it's all polished up and ready to go. Get the saddle back in it. So let's string it up. Alright, to string it up, I make sure I get all the holes in line with the neck here. So I'm just going to twist all these and get them in that position. Alright, I'm going to put a 12-string set on here of Elixir lights, and this is a pinless bridge here. So I usually put a piece of cardboard back here just to keep from damaging the top. So this is just going to be a long process of getting the strings in here. Yep. Alright, as I get each one on, I'm going to put it right on the tuner. I pass the string through the tuner, come towards the headstock, go underneath the string once, and around. And start winding. That's one. Found the way to get these going in this pinless bridge is you got to bend them. Get a bend going here. And then you can kind of sneak it through the bridge back here. Because when it goes in, it hits this hill, it's got to go uphill. So you got to bend it enough, and you got to have enough of a bend to make it go uphill. Okay, been at this about a week and I'm up to the second B string. Seriously, those E's are tough because they're so thin. The B was actually a little easier to get. Now if I can just get this untangled here. Let's see if I can make this one go quicker. It's like I never strung a guitar in my life. Hallelujah, look at that. That came through alright. Alright. Well, I discovered the secret to stringing a pinless bridge. The strings will not go in when the camera's on. Yeah, that one did. Alright, we're down to the final two wires. I think I've spent more time on with this wire than Nick Wallenda did last night in Chicago. That was crazy. He's unbelievable. Okay, we're getting there. Alright, all the strings are on it. It's ready to go. We're about a quarter way there because now I got to tune the thing. Okay, got it all strung up. I just scared the crap out of myself because I put this relief gauge on here and it was showing me like 15 thousandths back bow with the strings on. I'm like, what the heck? So what happened is the dial, the nut must have come loose, and it was when it was sitting in the drawer I must have bumped it in. The dial was off of 0. I trued it up on that granite table. So when I put it back on now, we got about 5,000, 6,000ths of relief. So let's give it a strum here and see how it's sounding. Alrighty, let's see what the action's doing here too. Alright, the E is about 7/64, so it came down some because it was about 8/64 at the beginning. And the low E is at 6/64, so it's definitely come down some. And the only change we made, as I say, is we put some tension on that JLD system. So we're going to let it sit overnight and just kind of let it settle in. And if it's still high, then I'll just take a little bit off the saddle. Wow, got a big sound, huh? Well, it plays pretty good, although it does, up here it does start feeling kind of high. But 12 strings are hard to play. Except for tailors, right? That's what they say, tailor. But this one, I think if we get the action down on this, it'll play as nice as a tailor. It's just kind of high up here. So we'll see what happens with that JLD system. See, it's already out of tune. Let me tune it again here. Alright. You know, I think I decided 12 strings of guitars are like they're the Ferrari of the guitar world. They're high maintenance, hard to keep in tune, but when they're running good, they sound great. But I haven't played that one in a while. What's the next chord? Anyway, let's leave it sit overnight, retune it, and we'll see where the action goes. Not playing too bad. Okay, enough.